Hey guys, welcome back to Bolito Gaming, and today I'm bringing you a very interesting video for 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. Now, right in front of your screen you're seeing this beautiful resource that has been created by players of the community. Big shout out to 7dsgc.gg. This is a really wonderful resource for anything that you might need to know about the game. So if you ever have any troubles, you can just hit up this website and you'll find quality information on the website. Now, what are we talking about today? Now, I personally, in this video, I'm going to tell you about the characters that are often forgotten but actually are really valuable for any account. So, starting from left towards the right, I have, as you can see, a lot of tabs right here, and we are going to talk about all of these characters one by one. Now, first of all, on the list, we have Death Pierce. Now, Death Pierce, some of you might know, his passive is his bread and butter. This passive, if you have him in the backline and you doing PvP, it's mainly a PvP passive. Death Pierce provides your team the ability to crit and crit hard, so he reduces enemies crit resistance and crit defense. So if you're running him on a crit team, he is really valuable. Apart from that, he's not that great as a standalone character because his skills are not that great, but he can sometimes clutch out a 1v1 in the end. If you somehow are facing some issues beating the opponent team, he can clutch out a 1v1. So Death Pierce is a nice character and he should not be your top priority, but he can definitely be a character that you consider. Number 2 we have, oh my god, this character right here. Number 2 we have the Serpent Sin of Envy, Giant Diane. Now she has on her base one of the highest stats of any character ever, alright? She has one of the highest CCs in the game, base CC, and her passive is also really nice. It increases her attack by 6% at the end of every turn, so at the maximum stacks, it is 30% attack on her after 5 turns. Now, her skills 1 and 2 are not that great, I will admit, but her bread and butter is her ultimate. This is the hardest hitting ultimate. When you give her the link, she becomes the hardest hitting ultimate in the entire game. I think I can show you, I must have missed it, the maximum damage multiplier. So it's a 60% upgrade 5 times, which is 300, so it is a 900% damage ultimate, and it's a really hard hitting ultimate. So she's often slept on, but you can easily clutch out wins just by using a 3-6-4-6 Diane and just one-shotting the enemy team. Right, you can knock out the entire team with just her ultimate, but her other skills are not that great, and that's why she's held back a little bit. But still, I feel like she's a really useful character, and she always has her niche uses. For example, she is going to be really good for the season 3 of Knighthood, the AoE Knighthood boss, and she's also going to be good for the current final boss if it ever returns, the final boss trio, on which I'm going to make a guide pretty soon. She's really useful there as well. And on top of that, for me there's a bonus. I have her 6-6 because I summoned on the coin shop 7% banner and I got her luckily to 6-6. Alright, moving on. Both of the Elizabethan Hawks. Now the green one is alright, she's not that great, but she can do really well as a starting because you just get her for free. So, and she has a Pierce card, so you can use her instead of trying to get Hauser. You can just skip building Hauser and use her instead of Hauser on your main Pierce farming team, which I have Hauser on my team, but you can always put her on your Hauser on your PvE farming team. Now the next Elizabeth, she is just a wonderful damage character, and her passive is also really great. Now her main use for me used to be in Red Demon Extreme, because you could just keep stacking her passive, because you would freeze the boss or petrify the boss at the end of their turn, and then you would just keep stacking her passive, and she can dish out some really good damage. But she is not that practical in later stages of game, but in the early stage she can be, both of the Elizabeths can be really helpful. Moving on to Blue SR Gila. This is a character that should be one of your first level 60, 65, 70, whatever level you might want to take her to, and that is because she is going to help you farm gold and books. So Blue Gila, I'm going to make a guide on book farming and gold farming with her. Just remember that Blue Gila is a really good character for one particular purpose, and it's just farming. specifically book farming, so we are going to talk about that as well. That is her only purpose on your box. You can use her in training cave, etc., but the main purpose for blue Gila is you can use her on your farming team for books. Moving on, we have Meliodas, the green counter Meliodas, one of the most sought out character as a starting hero. Now, his outburst counter is still one of the most highest damaging skills that you can get. If you get a very nice level 3 counter, whoever the opponent is, they're just dropping dead, alright? He is that great, and he has the highest single target damage card, so that's great as well. He's often slept on, but he's actually a really nice character to build, and also to 6-6, because he's a link for one of the strongest characters in the game. So I think this is a really good investment. Or the other way you could go around it is if you take the blue SR Meliodas. I think this is the starter character that you start with along with the green Elizabeth. So take him to 6-6 and level 86 stars. I have not done that yet on my account. I know I'm slacking a little bit, but you should definitely invest in this character for the same reason that you should invest in the green SSR Meliodas, and that reason is to get a 6-6 link for one of the strongest characters in game. On next we have Red SR Slater. Now Red SR Slater is a very under the radar character. The problem with PvP is that if you use SR characters or R characters, then your CC is so low that you always go second, and going second puts you at a big disadvantage. But if we, for some reason, if you just ignore that for a little while, SR Red Slater is one of the strongest control characters in the game. Now, what do I mean by control characters? His overpower card right here disables everything, but attack skills and decreases attack related stats. This is such a strong card. Imagine going into a PvP match and just putting this up on their Arthur. Right? They get no buffs anymore. They cannot use their first skill and they will not get buffs. Similarly, imagine using this on Halloween Green Gother. Both of his cards are locked. He cannot do anything in that match, right? So he is a very strong character. He can also help you cheese some bosses in some seasonal occasional bosses, and he can help you cheese the fairy demon queen stage in training cave. I'll make a guide for training cave as well. I tried to record it, but the file got corrupted and there were some issues with that file, so I'll try and make that guide again. But just know that he is a great character, and if you invest in him you will not regret it. Also, I will recommend getting him into 6-6 because he is a link for Gother, and Pierce rate is a nice link, so you can always get Red SR Slater. Really good. He is one of the characters that has a unique attack set, unique equipment set that you put on him, but we'll talk about that later if need be. Moving on, Wineheit and Green Hendrickson, sorry. Now both of them have similar purposes for this video, for this discussion, and that is their passive. Their passive increases spears. Wineheight's is 8% every turn, and Hendrickson's is 5% per skill use. What I like to do is throw in either of them, it does not matter that much, on the back of my Pierce farming team. And the other reason why both of them are important is for reverse stages. Both of them are required for reverse stages, and getting them to level 66 stars is not a bad choice. Now moving on, we just have 6 characters that you might already know of, but if you are sleeping on them, you should seriously consider building them right now. Alright, so these are um, uh, the attack related stats increase for various classes. So we have Red Jericho for the strength class, we have Blue Jericho for the speed class, which is the blue class, and we have Green Alioni for the green class. Now you should take these characters at least to 66 stars, uh, and you can just throw them in the back of any PvE team and just give one of the classes. If you're running a mono red team, you can use Red Jericho at the back. For example, with the mono red Escanor or the mono red Derriere teams, you can use her in the back. Or if you're running a blue team, you can use this Jericho in the back. Or if you're running green Escanor, green Gother, something like that, you can use this Alioni in the back. So these are just very good increases to attack related stats, and you should know about them. Moving on, we have similar passives but for HP related stats. Now this is Twigo. I'm sure all of you know about Lord Twigo. Strength attribute allies get 30% increased HP. It is not HP related stats, it's just HP. So 30% increased HP from Twigo, 30% increased HP from Marmus, and 30% increased HP from Jillian. Again, you should try and take these characters to 66 stars. Alright, so that is going to wind up the list for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you and have a nice day. Please leave in the comments if you want me to cover some other topics, and if you like the video, please like and share the video with your friends. Please subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.